they know what God can do because he did it for them. You ever go to New York? You land at the Guardia Airport, King will tell you, look over to the side. They have the exhibits from the New York World's Fair, 64, 65. I'm 9 years old, and I preached there as a wonder boy preacher in the New York Pavilion. Annie Jackson sung that night. And then they brought me on to preach as a wonder boy preacher. Now I remember that night they had this song nobody knows. Trouble I sing. Nobody knows my sorrow. The king where I got up behind it and said, I preach nobody knows. Trouble I sing. the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He woke me up this morning, started me on my way. Yes, yeah, yes, yeah. In my life, I've had to cry sometimes. In my life, I've walked alone sometimes. I've been lied on, cheated, talked about. I've been mistreated. I've been up. I've been down. I've been leveled to the ground. I've been stabbed. I've been prosecuted. But through it all, through it all, through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, through it all, I've learned to depend on His word. He'll make a way. He'll make a way. He'll make a way. Yes, He will. Yes, He will. Yes. Yeah. As I take the seat, man asked me the other day, they protested all of these screens in the airport. Man said, Reverend, you know about the terrorists. Said, you got to go through this. I said, I understand that. He said, don't you remember 9/11? I said, let me tell you a story about 9/11. I was in New York when they hit the World Trade Center. One of the most despicable acts in the history of this world. I remember how terrified we were. I was in Brooklyn. It took me 3 hours to walk all the way to Harlem to get to our headquarters. Johnson, when I got